The world is a spiderweb of invisible threads, designed to tug at your deepest insecurities and your rawest, most primitive cravings. Most men are dangling in the dark, twitching at every vibration of the web, oblivious to the fact that their life force is being slowly drained by unseen architects. You were born into a system that profits from your distraction and your constant, frantic state of biological emergency and sexual depletion. Every advertisement, every notification, and every curated smile is a hook designed to snag your attention and pull you away from the throne of your own singular, sovereign consciousness. When you are depleted, your nervous system is perpetually on edge, making you hypersensitive to the opinions of others and the demands of society. You are a dry leaf caught in a gale, unable to find a center because you have given away the very essence that provides masculine weight. Manipulation thrives in the gaps between your desires and your discipline, sneaking into the fractures of a mind that is always looking for pleasure. A man who cannot say no to his own body is a man who can be convinced of almost anything by those who understand his secret hungers. But something happens when you decide to stop the leak and hold the line against the relentless tide of modern, digital temptation. The fractures begin to heal, the gaps start to close, and the invisible threads of the spiderweb begin to snap one by one under the growing pressure of your intent. The hook is the moment you realize that the world no longer has a remote control for your emotions or your daily actions. You look at the things that used to trigger your desperation, the beauty, the fame, the social pressure, and you feel absolutely nothing but a cold, crystalline, and powerful silence. This is the biological death of the nice guy and the birth of the stoic titan who cannot be moved by shame. Because you have conquered the most primal urge, the secondary manipulations of guilt and social standing lose their power to bend your will or break your steady, focused, and disciplined spirit. Semen retention is the process of building a psychological fortress that is impenetrable to the low-vibration tactics of the modern, loud world. You are reclaiming the dopamine that was once used to bribe your compliance, turning it instead into a fuel for your own internal, unshakable, and truly powerful vision. A manipulated man is a man who is afraid of losing access to pleasure, but a retained man is already full. You cannot bribe a man who already owns the bank, and you cannot threaten a man who has already conquered his own internal demons in the dark of the lonely, quiet night. Your brain begins to clear the fog of pornography and mindless scrolling, allowing you to see the predatory patterns in those around you. You see the hidden agendas, the subtle gaslighting, and the emotional traps long before they are even sprung, watching them fail with a quiet, knowing, and masculine smile. Dark femininity and corporate greed both rely on the fact that you are a slave to your own reproductive instincts and urges. When you remove that lever, the machinery of manipulation grinds to a halt, leaving those who would control you confused and powerless in your radiant, still, and very formidable presence. You will notice that people try harder to provoke a reaction from you, desperate to find a crack in your new armor. They will use anger, they will use tears, and they will use coldness. But each attempt only serves to highlight the terrifying depth of your new, unmoving, and stable internal foundation. To be unmanipulatable is to be dangerous to a society that thrives on the predictable behavior of the broken and the weak. You have become a wild card, a man who follows a higher law that cannot be found in the brochures of consumerism or the scripts of modern, shallow dating. The clarity that comes with retention is like a lighthouse beam cutting through the thick gray mist of social engineering and lies. You no longer listen to what people say. You feel the intent behind their words, sensing the vibration of their honesty or the stench of their hidden, selfish, and dark deceits. This shift is particularly noticeable in your interactions with those who used to use your sexual desire as a bargaining chip. Now, when they attempt to play the game, they find that the board has been flipped and the rules have been burned in a fire they can never hope to extinguish. Your self-worth is no longer tied to the validation of a woman or the approval of a crowd of strangers. You have validated yourself through the agony of discipline, creating a foundation of self-respect that is so deep it acts as a gravitational anchor for your entire, expanding and successful life. Manipulation requires a target that is moving and uncertain, but you have become a mountain that refuses to budge for anyone. The more they pull at the strings, the more they realize that the strings are no longer attached to anything within your soul, your mind, or your physical body. There is a subtle, high-frequency buzzing in your ears during moments of conflict, a signal from your intuition that something is wrong. Because your mind is no longer clouded by the haze of release, you can trust this intuition with the absolute certainty of a seasoned, ancient, and very wise warrior. You begin to appreciate the power of the word no, seeing it not as a rejection, but as a holy boundary. Each time you say it to an external manipulation, you are saying yes to the integrity of your own path and the sanctity of your growing, powerful spiritual kingdom. People will start to call you arrogant or cold, but this is merely the language of those who have lost power. They mistake your lack of desperation for a lack of humanity, unable to comprehend a man who is actually complete within his own singular, masculine, and very protected, golden, glowing skin. The suspense of this journey is the feeling of being an outsider in a world that is obsessed with the shallow. You are playing a long game that most people can't even perceive, moving with a calculated precision that makes your every action feel heavy, significant, and potentially world-changing for everyone involved. Your eyes no longer wander toward the distractions. They remain fixed on the horizon of your own potential and your ultimate purpose. This level of focus is terrifying to those who live in the moment-to-moment chaos of their own unbridled and unexamined animalistic, low-level, primitive, and very basic human instincts. You are building a reservoir of will, a substance more precious than gold and more powerful than any weapon. This will is the shield that guards your mind against the subtle poisons of the media and the toxic expectations of a dying, confused, and fragmented global culture that wants you small. In the silence of your attention, you hear the voice of your ancestors, whispering of strength, honor, and the duty. These voices drown out the screeching of the modern world, providing a moral compass that cannot be demagnetized by the flashy lures of the contemporary, digital, and neon, hollow, empty wasteland. You have become a one-man army because you are no longer fighting against yourself, your body, or your own conflicting desires. With your internal civil war finally over, you can direct the full force of your being toward any objective you choose with a devastating, singular, and focused impact on reality. The emotional weight of this transformation comes when you look back at the years you spent being a slave to others. You will feel a deep, mournful pity for the man you were, the man who begged for scraps of affection while sitting on a throne of untapped, golden, and infinite potential power. But that pity will be replaced by a fierce, protective love for the man you are becoming in this struggle. You are the guardian of a sacred flame, and the realization of your own strength will bring tears of gratitude to your eyes in the lonely, quiet, and very profound midnight hours. The suspense is the feeling that the world is waiting for you to trip, waiting for you to fall back. Every day is a high-wire act where the only thing keeping you from the abyss is the strength of your own, unyielding and disciplined, masculine and powerful character, and your deep inner resolve. If this video gave you real value, tap the thanks button. Your support helps me keep creating deeper content like this. Every thanks is a spark that keeps this mission alive. Your support means more than you know. Real wisdom deserves real energy. Drop a thanks to fuel the next level. You are no longer easy to manipulate because you have seen the truth of what you are, a creator and king. The games of the world are for children, and you have finally, through the fire of retention, put away childish things to walk the path of the true, awakened, and sovereign man. As the screen fades to black, the silence in the room will feel heavy with the weight of your reality. You are standing on the threshold of a life that is truly yours. And the only suspenseful question left is how far you are truly willing to go to keep it forever.